Hey guys, today we're taking a look at my updated Blue Eyes deck. So this is a deck I've wanted to update for a very long time. I think Blue Eyes was the deck I've made first, like of any deck, and probably one of the first profiles I actually did on YouTube. But just a deck that I've been constantly updating and changing throughout the years. And now, I think it's a lot more powerful than it used to be, and I'm trying out some new ideas and things that a lot of other people have done. So just mixing around a few ideas, trying to focus on Blue Eyes and summon it with a lot of other powerful stuff, and obviously get out the synchro. Synchros are a big part of what the deck is trying to do. But just to get right into the cards, for this deck type we're going to be running 3 Blue Eyes. Obviously, the key card of the deck allows us to make some really powerful plays and set up things for us. We're also running 2 Flamvell Guard. So this is kind of an alternate tuner that isn't too bad of a card, that just allows us to make more synchro plays and just works out nicely with kind of the things that we're aiming to do. We're also running the Dragon Rulers, we're running Blaster, we're running Tempest, and we're running Tidal. Just because they set up the deck really well, allow us to make it more synchro plays, more XYZ plays, and just do a bunch of different things for us to set up the graveyard and the banish zone. So it comes into play, gives us some additional power. Obviously, the Dragon Rulers are very powerful, but combined with this deck, they have a bunch of other options that they can do. And then we're running 2 Eclipse Wyvern. So with a deck that really wants Blue Eyes, that really wants to make these synchro plays, that really wants to make use of the Dragon Rulers, Eclipse Wyvern becomes very, very powerful to set up what we want to do. So very nice there. Honest, in this deck, we obviously do have more than just light, but a lot of our big monsters are going to be light, especially in the extra deck. And with Blue Eyes just out there in general, he'll get the bonus from that. So Honest becomes a powerful card in that regard. Another big star of the deck, Maiden with Eyes of Blue, very powerful card. This is probably the best card that they ever came out with for Blue Eyes, just because it sets up things so well for you, and you can abuse some of the things it does in addition to the fact that it's kind of a wall to really annoy your opponent. 1 Red Eyes in a Dragon Focus deck, this card becomes really valuable, so really nice there. And then 3 White Stone of Legends. Obviously, this sets up what we want to do very well to search out Blue Eyes. So just, again, sets up things nicely. Having this in the graveyard is fine for us. We can make additional plays off that too, so really nice there. For the spells, a lot of spell support in this deck. We really need it to make our things happen. 1 Burial from a different dimension, because of our banishing and things we're trying to do. I find that Burial is really nice. 2 Cards of Consonance. We're running a lot of tuners. We're running actually 5 Dragon type tuners, so you could definitely run this card at 3. I'm still kind of debating it, but I think 2 is good as well. It's really up to you. We're running 3 Dragon Shrine. You can definitely run this at less, but I think 3 is good. It sets up what you want to do so well with this deck type. Just gives you a lot of consistency. 2 Forbidden Lance. So Forbidden Lance is powerful on its own. I use it in a lot of my decks, but it has additional power here because of Maiden. We can trigger Maiden. We can make things faster for us. So Forbidden Lance, you can definitely run at 3. You can run Forbidden Chalice, which I'll talk about. Those cards, targeting cards that you can use defensively or offensively, become very powerful for this deck. 1 Light of Redemption. Obviously that's nice with some of the banishing we're doing. We can get Blue Eyes back, get some of the cards back that we want to use. You can definitely run more of this. It's really dependent on what you're trying to do, but I feel like 1 can definitely set up things for you. 2 MST, back row can be an issue sometimes, but not all the time, so I don't think it's necessary to run like a lot of this. 1 Raigeki just to deal with our opponent's monsters, and 3 Silver's Cry. Obviously, Monster Reborn for this deck, which is very powerful. Very nice that we're also running those 2 Flamvell Guard, so even if we don't have Blue Eyes or we already have Blue Eyes, we can make additional plays very nicely. So I do like that consistency that comes into play there. 1 Soul Charge, a lot of graveyard stuff, obviously very nice for us. And 2 Trade-In. You can run this at more. It's kind of debatable. Blue Eyes gets to your hand really fast, so you could run this at more. Sometimes it could be cloggy. It's up to you. Running very low standard back row because we need so much spell support. So just 4 that I feel like will be very powerful to use. Solemn Warning, Torrential, Compulsory, and Fiendish. None of them are actually necessary. You can run more monsters, run more spell support, which I will talk about, but those are just the ones that I want to use in this deck to have some additional power. For the extra deck coming out of some of the really interesting power and levels we have access to, Catastor and Armades. Level 4 and 1, that combination doesn't come off as often in this deck because of kind of the monster setup, but I will talk about some of the ways that you can get this out to make that more consistent. I wanted the options on that. 3 Azure-Eyes, obviously a very powerful card for this deck. Setting up what you need to do, very nice. Really limits what your opponent can do to deal with your dragon monsters, and really sets up the plays you want to do and allows you to go in very hard against your opponent. Crimson Blader, obviously we can make 8 very easily. Same with Scrap Dragon, same with Stardust Dragon and Stardust Spark Dragon. The reason we're running so many 8s and Stardust Spark Dragon is because we have additional power. Scrap Dragon and Stardust Spark Dragon have targeted effects, which comes in with Maiden. So we can make additional plays there. We can make rank 8 XYZs and make additional plays there. So there's just a lot going on there. So the 8s are going to be the most common thing we could do, especially with the Dragon Rulers. So we have a lot of stuff that we can set up when we're trying to do. Star Eater, kind of a situational card, but obviously if you have red eyes and one of your tuners, you can set that up. So it's really up to you what you're trying to do with your deck. For the XYZs, we're just going to have 7, 8, 9. That's really the only things that you'll think about getting out. It's whatever you really want to run. So we're running Felgrand, Dracossack, Big Eye, Thunder, and Dragon because of Blue Eyes. You know, you can just do that to blow up your opponent's field, so it can set up things really well. We're also running one number 9, kind of optional, but it is a fun card, and I thought I'd throw it in here because it's kind of cool to get out. The thing is, Azure doesn't really need to be overlaid because it's so powerful on its own, but if you do want to overlay it, you know, towards the end when you already have a field set up, you can do that, or maybe as kind of a backup. But, you know, obviously one of the few options that you do have for rank 9 XYZ. For the side deck, there's a lot of cards you could run with this deck. I want to talk about some of the more important ones. Bright Star can set up things for you really well with this deck. Obviously, you'll target Maiden. Maiden will become level 3. You'll make a level 7 Synchro on top of the fact that you get a Blue Eyes out. So that's a lot of really powerful plays at once. You can start to bring out Michael. You can bring out Ancient Sacred Wyvern. Bring out Black Rose Dragon. So there's a lot of things you can do there. Guiding Light, the newest card, can allow you to summon out Maiden, so that's kind of interesting there. Hieratic Dragon, I was running this, can be a little slow, but can set up things for you, and again, with those targeted effects can come into play. Kaibaman, I feel, is kind of slow for this deck, but obviously a thing you can do. Light and Darkness Dragon can combo with some of the things you're doing. I feel like it's kind of unnecessary. Obviously with Dragon Rulers and Blue Eyes and stuff, you can activate Wing Beat and you can make other plays there. So this can be a very powerful card to deal with back row. So it's really up to you, but I feel like it can be very useful. And there's not really a reason not to run it. It's just, you know, debated whether you're going to want to bring those things back depending on what's on the field. Book of Moon, again, just a good card you can use for this deck. Forbidden Chalice, as I was saying before, again, a very powerful card. Megamorph, if you're using a lot of those life point stuff and then you want to go for those big plays, this can be a really powerful card with the high attacks we do have access to. Castle of Dragon Souls, another thing that really combos well with some of the things we're doing, another targeted effect, another thing that can allow us to make those dragons come out. This combos more with, obviously, Hieratic Dragon of Nuit, so we can do some plays there, but it's kind of a slow card and you kind of have to manage it. Obviously, we're not running, you know, standard back row, but if we were, you could run Dimensional Prison, things like that. You could take out all the back row, run Royal Decree, run Trap Stun, even run Trap Stun with some of the back row because we're not focused on traps, and that's just another option you can go with if you want to. If you're running something like Bright Star Dragon or some of the other level 4s, you could make those, you know, level 5 synchro plays, and then Yugioh would be an option because you can upgrade to him, so that's another thing. As I was saying before, Michael, you know, if those level 7s if you're running Bright Star. And obviously, if we're running more level 4s, we're not running any level 4 XYZs, but if we were running them, I would say to run Daigusto Emerald for obvious reasons, and you could set up things really well for you, and then you can run like Exciton and Silent Honor and things like that. It's very situational in this deck, and it doesn't come off that often. So that's my updated Blue Eyes deck. You know, a deck I've just had for a really long time, and I'm having a lot of fun with the new version, trying a lot of things out. So you guys can definitely give me some suggestions on the ideas and what you're running in your Blue Eyes deck. I tried to go over all the other options that are in the side deck, but maybe there's something I didn't think about. You guys can let me know in the comments. But that's about it for me. As always, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you later.